How was your Christmas?
It was good. It was
quite swell.
It was quite swell. It was very very festive, that's for sure.
It was swollen full of joy.
Yeah, it was bursting at the seams with Christmas.
Bursting at the seams with the amount of joy and glistening that one can possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Joy, Christmas, Santa Claus, and Jesus.
Yeah, it for real though, it was a good Christmas.
Did you go to church?
No.
I didn't either.
I don't know if like a lot of people really
go to church anymore.
No,
I don't think people go to church anymore either.
Yeah.
Damn.
They might go like every now and then, maybe for
shits and giggles.
Maybe because like their grandparents want them to go or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like your grandma.
You know, I've thought about that too. And since the religion in the USA is just kind of declining, there's like so many churches that have been built, especially like big ass churches that have been built, and they're gonna be vacant whenever people get, because even the people that are religious nowadays are still not even going to church. They're just practicing their religion at home.
Well, like even with like I was on. Okay, so I was hanging out with my mom's the other day, and like the church service came on for Sunday.
Yeah,
and it came on the TV. So I think people they'll listen to it like on a podcast, or they'll listen to it on the radio, or watch it on TV. They don't necessarily go to the service.
Yeah, I see that a lot too. I see a lot of people watch it on TV. Yeah.
My grandma used to do that when she got real old. She couldn't go to like the actual services anymore.
Yeah,
she would just watch it on TV.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit!
Yeah. And
that's the way to go now.
Yeah, and a lot of people, like you said, they still believe in God, Jesus, and things of that nature. But they, instead of like showing up to the physical church, they'll just. With technology, it's made it more convenient. Like back in the day, you kind of had to go to church. There was no other way.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess that they
you
had
could just practice your Bible at like home and stuff like that, but most people didn't do that.
Like sometimes when you go to church, they'd be like, all right, turn the Corinthians so-and-so.
Yeah.
And then he would read along. Well, this is what my dad's church, the Lutheran church we used to go to. Mm-hmm. We would go there, and it was set up in a way where it was like, there was a lot of singing.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of like you would read like a short story, and then you would stand up. There was a lot of movement involved.
Yeah,
and you would stand up, and then you would have like a bunch of like songs that you would sing together, and have like a choir up there at the front.
Yeah,
and then they have somebody on the piano. You know, like the whole.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then you remember the part where, at like the midpoint of the service, that everybody would go up there and they give them that wine and that piece of bread that they would eat. And then they would have like their little blessing, and then you would go back to your bench where you were at. I always remember that.
I always remember church too. I actually remember a lady having a heart attack at church.
Wow.
I remember that.
Were you?
How old was I? And I actually wasn't there at that day. I just remember it happened at the church that I went to, and I just so happened to not go that day. And I was probably about 10 maybe less than that, maybe 9.
So like, when did you stop like going to church in person, like with your family?
It's probably about 12.
That's probably
my parents just stopped going.
Yeah, that's about around the same time. Like I stopped probably around.
Really?
I remember going at 11.
Yeah.
11, 12, and then after that, it didn't just drop off right away, or we stopped going. It was like we'd miss 1 week.
Yeah.
And then we go the next week. Mm-hmm. And then we'd miss 1 week, then we go the next week, and then it would be like 2 weeks, and then it'd be like a month we wouldn't go. And then it was just like.
You just didn't believe anymore. You just get older, and then you're just like...
Well, no, it wasn't necessarily that. Well, It was... We just didn't go. Well, we just didn't go no more.
It was...
I don't know how... I don't know. I wasn't my... I can't... I was 12. I don't really know what was going on.
Oh.
There was a Great Recession. So that was going on.
Back in the 20s?
Back in the roaring...
The roaring 2010s.
The roaring 2010. The roaring 10s.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Just
the roaring early 2000s.
Yeah.
Wow. That's phenomenal. Man.
Did the Great Recession like affect your parents any?
Not really.
It's hard to like kind of.
Not really. And if it did,
you didn't notice.
I didn't notice it.
You were a kid. I was
yeah.
too. I didn't
and my
really
parents didn't really. They never really talked about financials with me.
Same.
Really.
Same.
I learned all of it on my own. And I actually learned a lot of it. I don't know how I learned a lot of it, but before like my peers. So I've known about it for a long time. Like I was reading like Rich Dad Poor Dad. Like that really got me into it because I got that book. I don't remember how the hell I stumbled upon that book, but I stumbled upon it, and then it really made me become conscious of like financials, of just like financial literacy just in general. And then it made me think about it a whole lot more. And that's really one of the things that led me to doing my senior project on financial literacy. And that's really what made me want to be a financial advisor whenever I was in high school. But I didn't do it because I knew that where I wanted to be, I would be about 32 to be an actual financial advisor and be in the position that I wanted to be in.
Before you really even got to the...
Before I really even started making $60,000 a year.
That's a lot of work for $60,000.
Exactly. I thought so too. And then the amount of debt that I would be in too. I mean,
it's like buying a house.
Yeah. It's like buying a damn house. For real. Maybe.
How much debt would you be in? Do you know?
If I did well, I would want to
be like $200,000 because that is a house.
Maybe because originally what I wanted to do was go through community college for 2 years and then go through a university for another 2 years.
It's kind of what my brother Devin did.
Yeah, because you had to have a bachelor's in order to. I believe you have to have your bachelor's in order to be a financial advisor. Because you got to take, it's basically like real estate school, but it's basically like you go through real estate school, but before you go through real estate school, you have to go to college beforehand.
Yeah, real estate school.
And then you have to have like 4 years. You have to be a CPA for 4 years, and in order to be a CPA, you have to. That's in order to get your license to be a financial advisor. You have to be a CPA for 4 years, and then you have to. Before you be a CPA, you have to, of course, have your bachelor's in order to be a CPA.
So there's levels to it.
Yep.
So it's kind of like that game. You remember you were playing the zombies, the game mode where you had the different like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
Yep.
It was like you'd have to get before you can go to Act 2. Act 2, you got to finish all of Act 1.
Yep.
That's kind of how. Yeah, that's kind of how it is.
Yeah, that's wild. What was you gonna say, bro?
I was talking about. Well, real estate school is kind of.
I was just comparing it to that because that's the closest thing that I can think of. But you don't like with real estate school, you don't have to go through school beforehand.
I think you just have to be 18, and I think that I don't even think you have to have your GED. I could be wrong.
Being a lawyer, I read somewheres where this kid is now a lawyer, and all he did was pass the bar exam. He just passed the bar. And he is now a lawyer. He didn't even go to school.
That's interesting.
I think he dropped out of college. I
wonder how he was able to go straight to the bar exam though. Like, how did he just show up one day and be like, "Hey, give me this"?
I don't think that you have to go to school. Yeah, I think that's really how it goes. You just pay however much it is to take it, because I mean you have to pay a certain amount, maybe like $500 in order to take it.
That'd be like that real estate book I have in there.
Yeah.
It'd be like if I got my hands on it. Let's say someone else took the real estate class, right?
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, can I borrow that book?" And I memorized every bit of the book.
Yeah.
And then I just go straight to the.
See, bro, I really don't think that you have to do the school. I don't think that you have to. Well, I think that you can just go and take the test. The school helps, but I think that you can just go take the test and then.
Unfortunately, that's not the case.
Really?
You have to. It's a mandatory 75-hour class, and then once you pass the class exam, you are given a code, a one-time code, randomly generated code, and then you are given access to the building to go take the test.
Whoa!
Yeah, so you go in there, and then you're monitored by these people.
That is insane. Walk around.
North Carolina, for real estate school,
be tripping.
It's the second hardest state to get your real estate license in the country.
Whoa! What is the first?
I think it's California.
Oh my gosh!
Because my mom's wanting to become. You have to get your license for each state, right? It's different in different states. South Carolina, there's things where like South Carolina, you have to get your car inspected every year.
Yeah.
South Carolina, you don't have to do that. Like even that.
Oh shit!
You don't have to get your car inspected every year.
Just run up in there and then just
get your plate renewed.
Get your plate renewed. Yeah.
You don't have to get an inspection.
Whoa!
So there's state laws for real estate here that are different than everywhere else.
Yeah.
And like
that's why you see so many beat up ass, dumbass squatted trucks out there in damn South Carolina.
It's probably less
like you do here.
There's probably just like less red tape down there.
I do not fuck with that.
Yeah, I don't really like the truck. I seen something that was kind of like, it wasn't a truck though, but it was like an old Suburban.
Yeah,
sitting on these huge rims, way bigger than what was necessary.
Yeah,
and it had like a slot squat. It was
that's just not necessary, bro.
It was like this kind of.
Yeah,
it was like this, and the windows were real tinted, and I was like,
wonder who's in there.
Well, actually, it turned out to be a really hot blonde girl got out of it.
Really?
Yeah. I was sitting in line at Chick-fil-A.
Shit.
And I was looking, and I was like, that's interesting.
Really? Huh.
I was like, whoa, okay.
Well, okay.
You don't have taste. I'm not going to go with you. I don't know.
Well, you don't have taste.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to approach you, little girl.
No, ain't going to happen.
Hell no. Damn, man.
The thing was, too, she was wearing like these short shorts in the middle of winter. I was like, what the hell?
Just to show that ass.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Okay.
Whatever.
All right, whore.
No. That's an easy mark right there, but it's just not worth it.
That's an easy pass.
Yeah.
Pass.
I like classy women.
You know, I thought about it, and you know how we talk about like OnlyFans and shit? Like, I think that I could get over the OnlyFans shit if I'm like, say I'm trying to like talk to a girl and I'm trying to fuck with her, and she has an OnlyFans. Like, say we're going out and some shit, and then she's like, "Hey, I have an OnlyFans," and I'm like, "Well, I would say the only way I could get over it, the only way I can get over it, is first of all." Okay, three conditions. First of all, you would have to be able to drop the whole OnlyFans if I said you need to drop this shit right now. You'd have to do it immediately. First of all. Second of all, if I didn't and we was together, then you'd have to share the money. Third of all, and this is very, very most important, she would have to be a virgin.
This is just not possible.
It has to be, or it's just not going to be possible. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is if she was willing to tell you up front, like pretty much almost from the get-go, like first date, second date, something like that.
Yeah.
Being upfront about it, because she knows that. I think she knows that it's going to be a deal breaker for a lot of dudes. You know?
Yeah.
Because let's say like you're a guy that's you've spent years putting yourself together, improving yourself in different areas, financially, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. Like you're doing all these things, right? And your intention is to find like a teammate, like somebody that you're not really out there just playing the field, like you're actually trying to find somebody that is kind of like an equal, somebody you can have something with.
Yeah.
When she has something like that, that's going to be an OnlyFans. She's going to have that stuff out on the internet forever.
Oh, yeah, that is
and
right.
Let's say if you... It could be something that goes... It could damage your reputation as a man to be associated with a woman that's just selling her nudes for money.
But then I thought about it. And yeah, it is online prostitution.
And I would also say that if you're looking at this woman as potentially being the mother of your children, the children at some point in their life, they will find out.
Yeah.
And the thing is, honestly, Carson, it's very easy just to find a girl that doesn't do that.
Yeah. And be a virgin.
Yeah, and you can find women that are probably like not, and you got to think like what type of character traits does a woman that does OnlyFans typically have?
You're actually right. She's a whore.
Well, what's her opinion of you as a man? Like, just what does she look at as
just
men?
A number?
As probably like something that extract resources out of.
Yeah.
So what's the chance that she's actually? What's the chance that she's actually a good relationship material type of girl, and she comes
-2,
and she comes from a background of just selling her nudes to random strangers. Like what? I mean, it's just better to just find a girl that doesn't do that.
For sure.
I mean, you can look if that's what you want to do. That's cool.
That's not what I want to do.
But I'm saying that
I was just bringing it up.
Yeah, I just saying like from a realistic standpoint, like what's the chances of her actually being something that you can have something with?
Bro, another thing that I wanted to talk about too is I've been thinking about it here lately, and I've been thinking like Instagram, like it's one of those, or like social media in general. This kind of goes off of that topic that we were just talking about. Well, I mean it goes away from that topic, but I think that like social media nowadays, like the mainstream social media that we have is basically like Instagram, Snapchat, and whatever. I think our generation is kind of losing touch of all of that. I think that it's still there and it's still prominent, but I don't think that it's as prominent as it was like Instagram. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a lot of people still on there to this day. But I think that people aren't really as active on there. Like whenever you go on Instagram, or me personally, whenever I go on Instagram, a lot of times I don't look and scroll at whoever stuff that I'm following, first of all. And second of all, I don't really see many people posting on there as much as I used to. And third of all, whenever I do go on there, I'm just looking at like stories. And I think that most people are too, because I see that most people are interacting with the stories more than posts. Which is, I think that goes hand in hand with the attention span people have nowadays. It's like people would rather look at the stories instead of go through there and scroll. Quick. Yeah,
I feel like
I don't know.
For me, I can't.
Just an observation.
I can't really give too much perspective on it because, like, I made an Instagram back in March.
Yeah,
not even a year ago.
But
I feel like, in my opinion, that a post usually takes more time and effort to make than it does to post a story.
Yeah.
Like usually I look at it like a post. Usually there's like several pictures, and it looks like it's, for some people they look like they took time to put it together.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like it's like there's some people that have whole videos that they put on there. Like, and it's a post like a little 1 minute video. And then you got like a story. It's just like real quick, just a picture or something.
See it and just tap away next on to the next one.
Yeah, it's just seeing like what's that person doing?
And then people aren't posting it to get interactions out of as well, or people can like swipe up on it and be like, yo, it's easier for people to do that. But like whenever you're doing a post, you're expecting people to like say like it or comment on it or whatever, And a lot of times whenever you're on there, you look at it as I don't really do this, but I know a lot of people look at it as I try not to. I mean, it's hard not to do this, but some people will look at it as like a way of validation, if you would.
Yeah.
And it's hard not. I mean, I say that I don't because I just know that it's just not a good ending to it. But it's hard not to whenever you post something and then you see like the likes on it. Whenever I post something, I don't even look at it anymore. I used to, but now whenever I post something, I just post it, and then it's just there, and then whoever likes it, and I got my like count turned off so that I don't even see the shit, so I try not to care about it. It's hard not to care about it because that's just how social media is.
Yeah, it's I think social media, it can help you stay connected with like your friend group. And if you have like a life that an interesting life, then it is cool to post stuff on there because you're not really trying to like gain like validation in a sense.
Yeah,
that's just who you are.
Yeah.
So like say for example, if you travel and you post stuff about like it's cool to post that stuff because then that's memories there.
Yeah.
And you can show your friends, and plus like 20 years from now you'll be able to go back and look at it, and you'll have like it's kind of like an archive in a way. That's the way I look at it. Like for like mix it, like if I mix a drink, I'm only going to see that drink for 5 minutes and then it's gone.
For sure.
But if I take a picture of it, then it's there forever.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm showing that off, and like how like my progression. Yeah. And how I'm getting slowly better at it over time.
And definitely, especially with women, it can be a form of status. Because you post something, and if you're posting something that is, because you see it all the time with a bunch of people that if they have nice things, they're usually going to show it off, and like, there's like a pitfall to that, because to one extent it could be like a form of you're showing off your status essentially. It's basically like a mating call, if you would. You know what I'm saying? Especially for women, because it's like
for women, like you mean like women posting or like
or
men posting
just
to
both
attract
of them, both of them in general. Because the best dating app is Instagram.
Well, we're biologically programmed to reproduce
for sure,
and most men they won't. Some guys they'll admit it, some guys won't. But the vast majority of the things that men do are meant to increase their dating prospects and to get the highest quality prospect as possible.
Exactly.
That is, even if that's not the primary factor, a lot of times it can be the secondary factor. Like
Most
think
definitely.
about like why most men would go to the gym.
Yeah,
why
exactly.
most men would want to dress well. Why most men would want to keep their room clean.
That's why most of the time, like whenever you see on Instagram,
same thing with the Instagram stuff.
Men mostly are showing off themselves with things, and then women are showing themselves off.
Yeah, like their physical beauty.
Like you'll see way more pictures of girls with selfies on there, and then guys will have way more pictures of them with things or with people or whatever, but mostly with things.
Yeah, that's just how it is.
Or at places, just to make themselves look more attractive, if you would.
Yeah. So yeah.
Or to provoke a status of some sort.
Yeah, and that's the reason why they're doing it. Yeah, but you can make it be like a combination of things. Like you can have it on. Like you could have, like I see sometimes people put a post on there like Merry Christmas or Happy Thanksgiving. It'd be like them and their family. Yeah. And then the next post could be them actually showing off one of their hobbies or something. It'd be like you, like maybe if you're showing off like some of your paintings. Like I remember one post you had, it was like
exactly.
It was you showcasing your art. That's just, it wasn't really you. You weren't really showing off. That's just who you are. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, but it is a part of showing off too. Is not just to the people that to the people that follow me. Like I really don't care. What other people see on my profile and shit. I usually just use it to make money. I only use social media to make money because. It just so happens the industry that I'm trying to tap in here is the entertainment industry, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to be a fucking clown like a lot of these guys on the internet that are fucking clowns, that are, first of all, they're on here acting an ass, first of all, and second of all, they're on whatever, on the internet or whatever here, fucking just dancing. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't gonna be one of these guys just fucking dancing on the internet for views or whatever, or doing some stupid shit in public for views. Like that shit is not
like those YouTube prank videos in a way that
exactly.
are just so
exactly.
They're just
and humiliating.
They're like
I'm not like that's a trade-off. Like I'm not gonna fucking sit here and humiliate myself for fucking views.
Yeah,
I won't be doing that. But
yeah, you're like a circus clown or something like that.
But I'm looking for the type of entertainment that is more or less visually appealing, or like maybe comedy, or like the arts, if you would. I'm more into like the artistic points of views. And the reason that I was saying that is because whenever I post my art, it is in a sense to show off. I'm showing off to galleries or museums or whatever that may be appealed by certain things like that.
But that's not the only thing. But when you're not, that's just you though. It's not like you were sitting there all day like, I'm going to paint this painting just to post it.
No, hell
it's not
no.
like that. You're doing it because you enjoy it.
Absolutely. But I'm saying that's the reason that I post it. That's the reason that I post it on the internet is so that, because whenever I post anything, it's always intentional. Is to draw some sort of audience to, I'm not trying to sell anything directly to people. I mean, if people fuck with me, then they'll buy some things that I'm trying to sell to them just anyways. But that's not my first intention on selling things, not selling things, but that's not my first intention whenever I'm trying to post something. It is to make money in the long run, yes, but it's not selling to people directly. It's, I'm making something entertaining and something appealing to people. Like I don't want to be loved unconditionally, if that makes sense. That's all I'm trying to say here, is because I'm trying to put myself out there and to show the things that I do and maybe the importance of it to other people, if you would, so that then they will enjoy the things that I enjoy as well, if that makes sense. I like it. And because I first started painting because I looked at my walls. I'm sitting here in a room and there's no kinds of artwork on my walls, and I like artwork and I want to do it in a certain way, my way, so that's why I started painting. So then whenever I started painting and getting better to where other people will enjoy it as well, then they can enjoy the things that I enjoy too, and that's made by me.
I've been here plenty of times when somebody would walk in here for the first time and they, even today, somebody was saying, it looks like an art gallery in here.
Yeah.
Well, it's and
people do it every time that they come in here. Mm-hmm. And I love to hear that, and of course that is some sort
it's
of
nice
sense.
To hear
it's nice to hear.
It's nice to hear, but I don't want to base it off of that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it kind of strikes my ego sometimes. Of course, then I'm very conscious about it too, so I don't let it get to me. Mm-hmm. But I do understand that, if I like something, I'm painting. Whenever I'm painting it for it to be visually appealing to me, because that's why I originally got into it. If somebody wants to buy something, I'm not gonna sell it unless it's a certain price that I want. Mm-hmm. And that's because I personally like my artwork. That's why I made it. I made it for me.
Well, it's hanging on the walls.
Exactly. I made it for me, and if somebody else likes it, they need to be able to like it as much as me in order for them to buy it, because I don't want to give it to you unless you like it as much as me and are willing to pay as much as I want for it.
Some people buy art not necessarily for the enjoyment of having it, but more for a potential quick flip for money. Yeah, I had that discussion with my my grandpa just the other day for Christmas, because I thought about I was telling him how I had put that smoky quartz crystal that he gave me, not from this Christmas, but the last Christmas. I had it on I just was displaying it and showing it off. And I was talking to him. I was I was thinking about, I actually have a small collection, not here, but at my mom's house that I got put away. Yeah. And I haven't brought it here because I don't really know. There's not a lot of room in my room. And I didn't know where to put it at, so I just left it there. But I was talking to him how I thought it looked cool, and I thought about eventually collecting more at some point when I can. And he looked at me. He said, "You need to be collecting it because you like it for the artistic value of it, rather than the potential monetary value
of it." Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, "Well, that's the whole reason why I was wanting to collect it, because I liked the, it's cool like how when I was displaying at Smoky Quartz, it gives a description of where it's from and what it is.
Yeah.
Like I have some other things like different rocks, and it has like a description that comes with the rock. Like one of them is from is aquamarine, and it was from the Soviet Union.
I remember you telling me about that.
And there was another rock that I had it was a rock, but it also had like this really dark green, almost like the color of like pine needles. Like how dark green that is. And it was from somewhere in Africa.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool because it's very unique in a sense, in crystals. And yeah, there is like a potential monetary value to it, but really that's only if the crystal, it can't. Usually when you have like I know this is like a tangent, but like usually when you have like a big gemstone,
yeah,
there's fractures inside the gemstone. So you can't cut a gem out of it because there's on the inside there's these fractures. So you have to cut around the fractures and you might have a gem this big and get a gemstone this big out of it, because you have to cut around all that. You ever had like a art class and you had like a drawing on a piece of paper and you have to take a scissors and cut out the same thing with a gemstone. You can't create a nice flawless gem that has fractures in it. You have to cut around the fractures. So you might have a lot of excess, a bunch of waste.
Yeah.
So you might have gemstones that look great, but you can't cut nothing out of because they're all fractured on the inside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's one thing about gemstones. You can have, and they call those specimens, the ones that can't be cut. They come out of the earth. These are called specimens.
Yeah.
And the ones that you can actually cut into actual gems, you go take it to a person that cuts gemstones, and you might bring them a giant sapphire, and you might get something like that afterwards.
Yeah,
because everything else was waste.
And see that, like what you was just saying just a minute ago, goes back to what we was talking about Instagram. Like if you have like those gemstones or whatever, or just anything that you like, and you see it, you want to take a picture of it, and then you post it on Instagram. People may post things on Instagram or just on social media in general, just to share it with other people as well. Share it with the people that know that person, and they want to share it with them. And like, hey, I like this. I would like to share it with you, and because I believe that you would potentially like it as well.
Yeah, some people will like it, and some people they won't.
And see, and I think that goes into a problem with social media as well, because whenever you're posting things like that and you like something and you're posting it to share with other people for the potential that they will like it, then if they don't, then that may affect their perspective on whatever they're posting as well. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then that goes into fucking bullying. That goes into bullying because, like, there are certain things that somebody may like, and then, like we was talking about with Lyndon one time, like there are certain things that you may like, but if the majority of people around you don't like it, then it may be in your best interest not to like it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain things that
it can be. Yeah, it could be a smart idea.
Yeah. Like porn. That's just the first thing that came to my mind. Like porn. You know what I'm saying? You may like porn and you may like to watch porn, but then if you're like telling your buddies like, hey, I seen this porno or some shit, and then like most people around you are like, bro, porn ain't good for you. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then it may be in your best interest to stop watching porn. I guess just for example.
Yeah. I mean, well, porn actually is not good for you.
Yeah.
It's like smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, most definitely. I was just giving that as exactly like smoking cigarettes. Like you may like enjoy smoking cigarettes all the time, and then you're smoking them all the time 24/7, and you're smoking like 80 packs a fucking day, and then all your buddies around you are like, yo, bro, smoking cigarettes ain't good for you.
Yeah.
But
maybe if you want to sometimes, you know, you never like, remember back in like high school, like there was like different groups of people that would hang out with each other. Like, usually people on a baseball team would hang out with the people they were on the baseball team with.
Yeah.
People that were on a football team usually hang out with the people they were on a football team with. Maybe that person that loves to smoke cigarettes they'll find a group that enjoys
smoking cigarettes.
A bunch of cigarettes.
Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying.
Sometimes, especially when you're meeting new people and new groups of people, sometimes there can be like I don't really want to say like personality mismatch, but more like a hobby mismatch. Like a let's say, for example, you're interested in self-improvement.
Yeah.
And then you get around a group of people that haven't really improved in 10 years in like hygiene or anything and of that nature. And like you trying to have a conversation about, hey, if you go to the gym and you do this, then this will be the result.
Yeah.
And they shoot it down like they're negative about it in some sense. They're like, oh, well, I don't really care about that. I'm too busy. I don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
I barely make enough money to even buy the pay for the membership. $40 a month for the beginner members. That's just way too expensive. Maybe
go outside and fucking run.
Maybe, well, it's hard to like get through to that type of person because they're
already set in their ways.
They've constructed a worldview that makes them feel comfortable not trying.
Yeah,
you ever talk to those type of people where it's like they can't. They create a
absolutely
like a victim story for themselves in order to not try.
And then they're in a whole victim mindset their whole life.
And then now what we're about to go, oh God, that opens a whole new realm of like the law of 48. To avoid the people that are just like unfortunate in the sense of like they don't like misery, like they're miserable, stuff like
exactly.
that. Avoid those because they're infectious in that sense. You ever hang around somebody like that and then like afterwards you're like, that was not a fun experience being around that person.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. And I really don't I just don't intentionally hang out around those kinds of people. Yeah. Intentionally.
Sometimes, like, even with, like, this, with the podcasters, you have a lot of different types of people come on here. And sometimes it's just, like, collateral damage that sometimes somebody like that shows up. And it's just, like, and once they leave, it's like, wow, things could be way worse.
Yeah.
I could be that guy.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that sucks to say, but that's just kind of like I mean, that's just that's how some people are.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of people, like I said, I made it clear in this one. I made just like a solo video not too long ago, and I was just like, I just made it. It was just a bullshit video just to show like it doesn't, just to show that it doesn't really matter what the fuck I tell people. Like if I tell people. Like, and this isn't me. Like I say, this isn't. Whenever I say stuff like this, isn't me being arrogant. Whenever I say that, like those books. Whenever I say that I have read a lot of those books and got a lot of different knowledge, it's because people decided to write these books based on their life, based on other people's life. I'm not learning from my own mistakes, even though I've made a bunch of mistakes in my life and I understand certain things just from my mistakes alone. But from the books as well, because they have learned from other people's mistakes and from their own mistakes and from a large history of people making mistakes. So they have made books so that other people won't make those mistakes again, right? Mm-hmm. So whenever I tell people certain things and people ask me certain things and I tell them straight up, because of the things that I know from reading a lot of those books and from talking to a bunch of different people and understanding a bunch of different perspectives on things, most of the time I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And that, like I say, that's not me being arrogant. That's not me saying that I fucking know everything, because of course I don't know everything. But I'm saying that I know a lot of things and I know how a lot of things work. And if I'm telling you my opinion on things and I'm very opinionated on something, that's because I have a certain amount of knowledge to back that shit up. And then I can also explain my argument whenever I'm telling you something and you disagree with me. If I'm not going to argue something unless I have a knowledge to back it up, unless I can back it up intellectually. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about something that I know nothing about. That just doesn't make any sense. I'm more than welcome to listen to somebody else that knows more than me on a subject. You know, that goes along with the hierarchies whenever I talk about hierarchies and shit too. And I've thought about this for a while too, because eventually I want to make a video about it. But anyways, there's different hierarchies in different places, right? So like if, say you know more about video games than I do, and I know more about, say, fucking rugs than you do, you know, if you step into my department of rugs, you're going to be down here on the rug hierarchy, and I'm going to be up here because I know more about rugs than you do. And then whenever I step into the video game place, you're going to be up here in the video game hierarchy, and I'm going to be down here. And you're going to know more about video games than I'm going to know about. So then I'm going to ask you about shit, but you're not going to argue with me about rugs because I know more about rugs than you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not necessarily about who knows more about what. It's just about who's going to put you in the right position, who's thinking about you from a position of helping a person out. So that just to tie into what I know I kind of went on a tangent there, but just to tie in what I was saying is that you can tell people, you can only tell people so much, and then a lot of times their ignorance is going to, or their point of view, like you were saying, their perspective on everything is going to get in their own way from trying to better themselves. So then it doesn't matter what you tell them. They already have a mindset, and they're already stuck in a certain mindset. And most of the time it's a closed mindset. It's not an open mindset. So they're only thinking within these quarters instead of a more broader spectrum. So then they can only come to certain conclusions instead of thinking about the possibilities of anything else that you could possibly tell them that. You know, because if you tell me something that I don't know, and I think I know it, I'm still open-minded enough to possibly sit here and consider what you're telling me, regardless if I think that I know everything. Not everything, but everything about, say, a conversation that we're having. Like, if I think that I know a lot about a conversation, I mean, of course you can't know everything, like I fucking always say. If you're telling me something about something that I think that I know a lot about, I'm still going to take what you're saying into consideration because I'm still open-minded. Mm-hmm. And then if you're telling me something that goes against what I think that I already know, after the conversation, I'm going to go do research about it, and then I'm going to find out for myself, and I'm going to take into what you're saying into consideration and understand how you know. That's why it's good to have a vast array of knowledge whenever you're speaking on something or arguing to something, about anything, so that you can back up what you're talking about, and so that you can understand what the other person's talking about. And if you don't, then you can get them to explain it.
Yeah.
That was a lot of shit. I just went on a fucking rampage there.
Yeah. Some people are disagreeable and become aggressive or violent after proven wrong in a sense. Like,
yeah, they take it personally.
Yeah.
That's where they get the ego involved.
Ego and just
they tie their ego in with their arguments.
Yeah. So sometimes it's also like you have to be aware of who you're having a conversation with. Some
Most
people,
definitely.
Sometimes it's just best to not even, if someone disagrees, I'm sure you've had times where somebody has disagreed with something, so it's so obvious that they're incorrect, but yet it's stupid that it's like as if they try to argue if 2 + 2 is 3 or something.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're like, there's no point in explaining it to this person because they just can't comprehend.
Yeah.
They can't comprehend it for some reason. and it's best for me not to waste my energy on this person and trying to explain it, because you can't help that. It's going to have to be up to them to have to figure out the truth for themselves. You hear like some people that have like you have to learn the hard way.
Especially
let's say like with let's say a relationship that isn't working out, and yet like they continue to try and resolve it. Like I'm sure that
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like that,
a lot of fucking people.
At that
man.
point, it's like
you just got to learn the hard way, dog.
You're just gonna have to get burned one time or a dozen times until you realize that you can't. It's not feasible.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to just start over with some.
Like what you're thinking about, the outcome that people are thinking about is basically just fantasy.
Well, it's like the definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing over and over again, and expect a different result.
Exactly. It really is insane. It's insane, dog.
It is insane. It is insane.
Insane in the membrane.
Insane in the membrane. It's
absolutely insane in the fucking membrane.
So when you take those things into consideration, on like when it comes to just talking to people, interacting with people, like when I was talking about like the different people who have different like hobbies and group like things that they like.
Yeah.
If you take all that into consideration, it will be your circle will be small afterwards. If you're focused on like a growth mindset and trying to improve in multiple dimensions of your life, there's not going to be many people involved, because you're going to have to be, especially in a town like this where there's not many people. There's just not a lot of people around, and a lot of people that you become associated with will probably be from larger areas.
And see, that's why I really can't fuck with anybody around here mostly anymore. I really can't, because just most of the time people just are just wanting to do some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just trying to focus on shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Stagnant. I'd say they're
or whenever they talk about shit to me, they're like, hey, I'm trying to do this and 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 this.
You probably hear that a lot.
A lot, bro, from lot of different people. No substance at all. It's all talk. Yeah. We talk about with this with Lyndon too, because Lyndon's bad for this too, and he knows it. That's why we're talking about him, because he knows it. And I've told this to him a lot before too. But like he'll talk about something to me, and then he'll just talk about it, and then he won't put in the work behind it that it takes to accomplish the things that he's wanting to accomplish.
Yeah.
And he understands that too, and then sometimes we make a joke about it too, like you're just talking about it, you know. And I mean,
talk is cheap.
Talk is cheap. And a lot of people, especially around here, talk about some shit too. They all the time talking about how they want to do this and that and this and that and this and that. And then they don't do what it takes in order to do this and that and this and that and this and that. Like, that's not me shitting on them. It's just me telling the truth. Like, I'm gonna tell the truth regardless. Like, I know there are certain things that if, like we was saying, like, if you're talking to somebody and they have like a closed mindset, or they attach their ego to the argument that they are putting in place.
Yeah.
If you go to talk to them about certain things like that, then they're going to be hurt by it, because it's personal to them. Mm-hmm. They think that it's personal, because essentially you're attacking their ego whenever you're attacking their argument to anything. So that's why I made that video, like I was saying, is because, you know, it doesn't matter what the fuck you say to somebody. You know, you can just tell them a bunch of bullshit. Like, that's what I'm going to start doing now, unless somebody fucking starts paying me money. That's what I'm going to start doing with people. If somebody's asking me, what do I do in this? What do I do? You're going to have to fucking pay me money, because I'm not about to sit here and have a 5-hour long conversation with you, and first of all, not get paid, and second of all, tell you a bunch of information that either A, you already know, or B, that you don't know, and then you're not going to fucking apply whatever the hell I'm telling you whenever I'm sitting here telling you the truth. Like, I'm not going to sit here and explain something to you 100 billion times over and over and over and over again for no fucking reason. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big-ass problem that I be having just in general with a whole bunch of different people, man.
Yeah, like the first few times, like, for me personally, if somebody was coming up and asking me for advice about something that I had a lot of knowledge about, and then I sit there and take the time to diligently ask questions and get to the root of the issue, and then give a basically prescription to the problem.
Yeah.
And then you don't do anything to fix it. After a while, I'm not gonna keep on telling you what, if you touch this hot stove, it will burn you.
Yeah.
You go and touch the hot stove, and I'm like, okay, well, how did that work? Oh, I burnt my hand. Okay, don't touch the hot stove. And you're like, well, maybe next time around it won't burn my hand.
Be as hot.
Maybe it won't burn my hand next time. And if you keep doing it, at some point, I'm just going to be like, hey, I don't know. I can't help you.
I can't help you, bro. There's nothing I can do. I can't do it.
If I was a doctor and you don't take your medicine, I can't force you to take your medicine,
bitch.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with you, but
I don't know what the fuck's happening with you, dog. You're insane in the membrane.
There's something going on, and it ain't good. But that's just and man, it takes, if you have to sit there and listen to somebody's problems and actually kind of be a therapist.
Seriously,
it's draining mentally, and it requires a large knowledge base to give an accurate. Like, a lot of people can give you advice and it be bad. Just the advice can be terrible.
Absolutely,
advice is just basically an opinion most of the time.
Yeah,
unless it's actually the truth.
Absolutely.
And if you're sitting there giving a very, very good advice,
truthful advice, backed with an
array of examples
that you can back up yourself, that you can back up with an argument, and if it were to be pushed back,
and the prescription, basically the advice, the prescription for it would be you be asking high quality questions, and it would be like an analysis of, like a doctor. You go to a doctor and they ask you like what your symptoms are.
Yeah, you
have to say, sore throat, and then you got a headache or a fever, and then they'll come do tests. They're like, well, it ain't COVID, and it ain't flu, or it's this or it's that, and then they make an educated opinion, basically, like a guess, but it's the very best that is available that we can give you. And it's either you can do this or you can just fuck off. And I don't know.
Fuck off.
There's nothing else that can be done for you.
Yeah, for sure.
You should be, in a sense, like learning all that over there, in a way, you should.
He's pointing at books.
Yeah, I point at all that stuff over. I know you can't see it, guys, but all those books over there, there's a lot of books, and it's a lot of information.
For sure.
Having to go through that.
I only read nonfiction books
and read all that, and then memorize a lot of that stuff, and then somebody, because these books really apply to, it's not really like a specific subject, but just to life in general.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the books they're all going to be situations that people come across in their life over the course of it.
Yeah. And
a lot of those books are going to give good advice on what to do in those situations, and also advice on how to maximize your ability to have an enjoyable life, whatever that may be to you.
Yeah. Most definitely.
And they're really just here to help you and guide you. And if somebody's taken the time to memorize all that stuff, and you're aware that they've taken the time to memorize that stuff, and you ask them for advice, you should take their advice seriously, because it's going to be better than any other person's opinion most of the time, unless they're like, they spent 10 years reading those books or whatever.
Yeah. And another thing that I see too is like people will do something in their life and accomplish something in their life, and then I guess it's something that I kind of have a problem with. They will accomplish something in their life, and then other people will look at them for advice, or they'll look at them as an influence in their life, because they have did something successfully. And the problem is whenever those people start to give out advice, or they start to get political, if you would, without having the knowledge to back it up. They are just speaking because, and other people are giving them a voice because, again, they have done something successfully. Like, for example, if somebody has acquired a lot of money from just anything, right? They maybe have acquired a lot of money in that field, and they have become successful in that field. So the problem is whenever people, especially, this is big time on the internet as well. Whenever you see a bunch of influencers that are successful in a certain way, they get on there and then they start giving advice to a whole bunch of people and becoming the influencers, quote unquote, that other people believe that they are. So instead of giving out knowledge that they have and are educated in, they in a sense start giving out a bunch of bullshit that they think, their opinions basically, not based in any sort of education, if that makes sense. So they start giving out and they start having arguments with people, and that's also a problem too. Whenever they don't have an argue with people, or they can't have any pushback as well.
They become defensive in some sense.
Yeah, exactly. Or like somebody will say something, they will say some bullshit. Let's just say they're trying to put their opinion out there. Mm-hmm. So first of all, other people are going to be like, say they make a video saying that this is how you should do things, this is how you should do things, and this is how you should do things. So then other people are going to believe it because they believe that they are a successful person. So then they will take whatever they say into consideration, and they will believe that person other than some person that is actually educated in that subject, but not as, say, financially successful or successful in some other field, right? Mm-hmm. So that's like your dad telling you something, and he knows for a fact that this is what this is, right? And then there's an influencer on the internet saying that, and he's telling you what it is because he has been through life and he has experienced it, whatever he's telling you about. Mm-hmm. And you see some influencer on the internet that has gained a massive amount of financial success. So then you look at that person as some sort of high up on the hierarchy. So then you believe that person over your dad.
Like his opinion is valid just due to the fact that he presents himself like as if he is successful and has a lot of things. So I was like, oh, he has all these things, these objects or all this wealth. Yeah. So therefore, he must know what he's doing because he has this.
Yeah. Exactly. That goes back to what we were saying earlier about the social media shit. People will look at these influencers because they're financially successful or whatever, and then they will start to believe whatever opinions they are instilling into them. Right.
Even just if they're not right at all, like they could, maybe how they got their. When I hear success, I'm guessing what you're saying is like money, but money, success in the sense of money. That's
just an example. Just like an example, money is a big like that may be a big factor.
Driver. Of
exactly.
Money is important,
or just really money or. That's not the only thing, but that's one of the main components to what I'm trying to say is like you may see somebody that's damn jacked. You see a guy that has taken steroids and shit, and then he's telling you how to be buff as fuck.
Yeah. It's not going to be feasible naturally.
or a guy that's just financially successful, and he's only financially successful. Like, let's just say he put his money in a damn stock. So let's just say he put his money in the right damn not GMC, but fucking GameStop. Let's just say he put his money in GameStop as soon as it hit the damn. Yeah. And he basically hit the jackpot. Or somebody won the fucking lottery.
Yeah, I was about to bring that. Somebody that they were doing like a job that was like paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
They hit the lottery. Now, and this person comes across them after they've hit the lottery. They don't know any of the backstory of this guy. All they do is see the money that he has now.
He's presenting Ferraris and everything.
And they're like, oh my God, this dude, he's a genius.
Yeah.
When in reality, he was just buying scratch-offs at the gas station for 20 years, and he just happened to get lucky.
Exactly.
One day. I mean, yeah, that would be. I want to take that guy's advice. And another thing too is like more than likely, they've done studies with people who have like have hit the lottery. Not always like it doesn't have to be 100 million. It could be like 1 million, 500,000, whatever. And a lot of times, those people that come across money in that quantity lose it very quickly because they had no money management skills in the first place.
Yeah.
More than likely, they were like. Lower income, middle income, nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people just stay at that level because that is as far as their money management, knowledge goes.
Yeah,
they don't really think about the dividends on a stock, or they don't really think about like the interest on, on a certain stock, or they don't do any research on it. Their money earning capabilities go as far as the amount of hours they clock in.
Yeah,
that's where their ability to produce money maxes out at. They don't have multiple streams of income in that like, and it's terrible. I mean, it's kind of sad in some ways because I personally think it isn't that difficult to learn maybe one or two more, like learn a way to have one or two more streams of income that actually can increase your income amount by about like 10-20% easily.
Yeah.
Some people, like you hear some people that they say they can't do things because of the fact that they don't have enough money.
Yeah.
Well, they're living paycheck to paycheck. Well, in this day and age, it's like it wouldn't be terribly difficult to learn something that allows you to make just a little bit more money. That way you can go out and maybe get a TV or something that you don't have, or be able to afford that gym membership. Another thing is like what's really, I know this is a tangent, but when you kind of go on, okay, so this is going to go back to a book that I've read a lot, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Is there was something called on, I think it was Rule 7, and it was about renewal, and it was talking about the upward spiral. And so like usually, and Jordan Peterson talked about this too, actually. So when you get into a habit of improving yourself in one area, that tends to bleed over into another area.
Yeah.
So like, let's say if you went to the gym to exercise, not only do you get, say, stronger physically, but you also will feel better mentally and emotionally. And that will provide you with more energy to do more things. And then that can, that clarity, and it just kind of, it's like, it was like there was this one scene that says like, when the tide rises, it lifts all boats with it. You know, like it helps, improves you in multiple areas. So the upward spiral was talking about how like once you start to improve in one area, it's like an upward spiral that gets bigger and bigger. And Jordan Peterson talked about those that create their own luck, like create their own luck in a sense of like good things happen to them. Typically more good things will happen to them. Yeah. It's like a snowball effect, but in a positive sense. And then there's also people who, when they start to decline, it tends to snowball effect in the other way too.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you're aware of that, then like I was just saying, like being able to create that one extra source of income, more than likely, if you have success in that endeavor, then you're more than likely going to want to have a second and a third, and then that will just create an upward spiral in a financial sense. Yeah. And then next thing you know, you got enough money to go, maybe increase your style and your wardrobe, and and be able to afford better food, and it, like I said, it just kind of it bleeds over into multiple different areas of your life, and then it can be a cool thing.
Speaking of style and wardrobe, I actually wanted to talk to you about this on the last podcast that we did, and I never brought it up, and I've been thinking about it ever since. But I really hope that we got to a conclusion with the last the last thing that we just said, or I got to a conclusion to the last thing I just said, because I remember that there was something that I wanted to say, and I started to go down a tangent, and then I forgot about it. And it's really going to piss me off whenever we get done with this podcast, and I'm going to be like, fuck. Because this is what I'm about to say with the last one. Because the last podcast, whenever we had one, I meant to bring this up, and I totally fucking forgot about it. And I've been thinking about it ever since. But I hope to fuck I remember what the hell I was going to say. I'm just insane in the membrane. What was you going to say?
About what?
Oh, I don't know. Are you insane in the membrane?
Yeah.
I am too.
Well, actually, this is a good little, not a segment to end, but I'm going to go use the restroom real quick because I just had a coffee.
Oh.
So okay, I'll be right back, and then you can ask me, I guess, anything about style you want to, if there was, there was something you want to talk about, because I like it. And it was obviously I'm not dressed up right now, but it's definitely it's a cool journey. And I'm just I'll talk more about it when I get back. Okay. I gotta take a piss first.
Okay, bro, bet. We'll just cut this little part out right here. What I was gonna say was, you know how we were speaking about, you said something about wardrobe and fashion. It reminded me what I was gonna say on the last one was that, and this is completely different than what we was talking about, but you know how there's there's like a feminine trait to certain fashion styles. We was talking about the other day. There's a certain fashion styles have feminine traits to them, so they seem more feminine. And a lot of people will put it down, But
the people that put it down, just look at them, and then you'll realize quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see any well-dressed person putting down another well-dressed person.
Absolutely
It's usually
not.
people who are very scraggly, just not. They don't. Okay, so
we're treading on thin ice here.
No, it's not necessarily that. It's that typically the people that, this is from, let's say that there are men out there that would look at another man and they see that he's well dressed and assume that he is gay or something like that. What basically that dude is like, more than likely he's insecure, and it's like a dude getting mad at another guy for having money.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to come up with some sort of excuse for why he is in that position, because they don't want to have to look in the mirror and realize that I'm not doing what I should be as a man. And it's also like in a competition sense. Mm-hmm. That dude realizes that if he was in a bar with that guy and there was women around, all the women would go to that guy.
Yeah,
and it pisses him off.
Yeah,
but then again, what I would say to that guys, don't complain because you never put any of the work in.
Yeah,
to get to that level, to be well groomed, well dressed, take care of your physique, watch your diet. That takes a lot of time.
Yeah, and
a lot of effort. Why would a girl want to choose a guy that's so lazy, that he cares so little about himself, that he's willing to portray himself to the world and look like a slob?
About his appearance, exactly. So
because people will judge you based on what you look like.
Exactly.
And it might be a harsh thing to say, but that's just the reality of it.
And she knows that people are going to judge her based on the way that he looks.
Yeah. So
vice versa.
Yeah. So if you want an attractive woman in your life, you should strive to be that yourself as a man. Yeah. Because a lot of when this goes in the hypergamy too, women usually tend to date a cross or above.
Exactly.
So why not try to be as advanced in all those areas as you can?
Absolutely.
That way, to maximize your options.
Yeah,
it's the only logical thing to do. And this also goes into peer groups. Why would you want to associate yourself with men who have no desire to try and get to the top in that sense? Because all they're going to do is they're going to be the crab in the bucket analogy. You're going to be trying to strive to be better, and they're only going to be wanting to drag you down.
Yeah.
And they're going to be bringing a lot of bad habits with them too. You know, just doing things that are, you're going to wake up and they're going to be eating donuts for breakfast.
Yeah.
Or something instead of eating having their protein shake and having their black coffee and going to the gym. It's just, don't put yourself around people who don't want to better themselves.
Yeah,
that's what you're shooting for.
That goes back like what I was saying earlier, like the damn rich unintelligent dudes. The dudes that are rich but they're unintelligent by any stretch of an imagination. Or like damn pretty stupid bitches. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like that look pretty but they're just fucking stupid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It would be way fucking better if she's pretty and she's educated, but not just educated in the sense of book smarts, but fucking just educated all around. Yeah, a well-rounded person.
And you can find women like that, but you have to navigate. It really, more than likely, the first girl that you talk to isn't going to be the one you want to be with.
Yeah,
you have to, and there's going to be and you're going to have to be discerning, and you're also going to have to be able to figure out what women have morals and which ones don't. Because if you get to a place where, like, if you're dressing well and you're grooming and taking care of yourself, like your body and everything, and you end up becoming what most women would perceive as like an above average guy.
Yeah,
there's going to be women that are going to be having boyfriends or in relationships, and they're going to want you to cheat with you.
Yeah.
And it's going to be up to you to have the morals to say no.
Yeah, so like basically, so what you're saying is like how you're feeling on the inside will usually affect how you look on the outside. That makes sense.
And people, like I said, like you only get one opportunity to make a first impression. So if you know you're going out and going to go do something, you might as well present yourself in the way that you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people are just not putting any effort into their looks ever, and they look down upon anything that strives to be better. More than likely, they're in a bad place mentally.
Yeah, and there's certain things too. There's certain things that, whenever it comes to fashion and making yourself look presentable, that may touch on certain feminine aspects. Like there are certain shoes that I have. Like I have a pair of sparkly shoes in there, and I'm pretty sure that they may be that they could. Well, I think they're like what the fuck is that? Where it's both. It can be both sexes.
Like a unisex?
Unisex, yeah. They're unisex shoes. Men or women could wear them. Well, they're designer shoes, and I just so happen to like designer shoes just because I respect the quality of them. They're all handmade, and it's like a piece of art that you're wearing, first of all. And second of all, they're way more comfortable than any pair of fucking Jordans that anybody can buy, or a pair of boots that anybody could buy. And they're just phenomenal. I'm a very artsy person, as you can tell, but and so I respect the quality of shoes that I get for that. And a lot of guys will look at that and they will say that it's gay, like you said, it's gay, or it's feminine, you know. And I understand that.
Yeah.
But look at Michael Jackson, for example, or look at Prince, for example. Any of those guys are fucking Young Thug wearing a damn dress. Like, first of all, I ain't gonna wear a fucking dress. Like, I think that's a little bit too much. Second of all, there ain't no bitch think that he's fucking gay because he's wearing a damn dress. They're still gonna find him attractive because of the well-rounded person that he is. I mean, besides of doing all that gang shit, you know.
I think women.
That's a different story.
Appreciate a guy that's willing to put himself together well with fashion sense, because a lot of women do that themselves to appeal to the men, because they know that men are visual. So like I think there's a lot of things that women have to do on the back end to take care of themselves to be physically appealing to men. Makeup, hair, nails, dresses, all that. They're very conscious about that. So I think when they see a guy that's willing to put the effort into himself to present himself well for her, she appreciates that because she does the same for him.
Yeah, for sure. And whenever you look at, like I said, like those superstars, or Elvis was very, very condemned by the male population at the time that he was the most popular.
You have to realize.
Yeah,
it only comes from jealousy
because he was wearing.
There's no rational argument for it.
He was wearing tight pants. He was like the only person that was wearing tight pants. And the way that he was dancing was sexual, and he seemed very feminine at the time. If you would, that's the word that would be used. But he seemed very feminine at the time. For his time,
that's like that is,
and all the women loved him. There's not a single woman on the planet at the time that disliked him, and then all the men didn't like him. And you said, for jealousy, and
it's jealousy.
He was going against what the male construct would be at the time. And I'm not saying to be transgender.
That's the male
anything.
construct of the male construct. It was. Like I said, he
was still a masculine person.
Yeah, you can, as a guy, you can dress well and still be masculine.
Exactly.
But it's just also it requires a certain level of intelligence to be able to put multiple pieces of an outfit together and make it look good together.
Exactly. And carrying yourself too is a big aspect of it as well. Like, I can wear my sparkly shoes out, and I can wear a pink hoodie, because I got that hoodie that has pink on it, and I can look kind of feminine in that way. But the way that I carry myself, people know that I'm not gay, but just by the way that I'm carrying myself.
Like, I know exactly what you're saying.
It's your demeanor as well. Demeanor.
Also, like with, if you're able to combine style with fit, and you're also able to take care of yourself physically, you at that point, if you will be in the top 10%, any guy in that sense,
sure.
like any guy that's got form, like, is a totally nothing's wrong with you, right? You can get to the top 10% if you want to.
Yeah, for sure.
But it will take effort, it will take resources, and it will take time.
For sure.
And it will take probably years. So
yeah.
It's better to start out as... And the thing is, too, is that you got the whole entire internet at your disposal. You have... If you want it, you can get it. But you have to put in the work.
Yeah.
And it's going to take time. And you're going to have to find people that are like-minded. And you're going to have to develop, you're going to have to be cool with them, and your circle's probably not going to get very big. You'll probably have a lot of people that you can be associated with and be cool with, but there's not going to be many people that you can really be true friends with, because they're just not going to stick to the course. And I mean, that's unfortunate, but that's just how it is.
Shit is what it is. Fuck them.
They fuck themselves.
Fuck them.
It's just how it is, but... Yeah, bro.
Insane in the membrane, ain't it?
Yeah. And they'll just kind of fall off to the wayside over years. Like, like after high school, you see some people that just kind of
absolutely
fall off to the wayside after high school, or are still stuck in that mindset, even if it's 10 years later.
For sure. Just can't fuck with them. Fuck them.
Yeah, you just can't, unfortunately.
You ready to wrap this shit up, Seth?
Yeah, bro. It's almost time.
Insane in the motherfucking membrane.
What do you want to call this episode?
Definitely not insane in the membrane.
Insane in the membrane? You're going to call it that. Because you kept on saying maybe. Yep.
I'm insane in the membrane.
Yep. It's the fucking Grinch.
I'm the new Grinch, bitch. Bitch.
just like an aggressive breathing into the mic.
I didn't know what to say.
You're like, yeah, God, I don't got no words for these fools.
I thought that it would pop up in my head as I was pointing to him. Like something like "Go fuck yourself." I use that one a lot, you know.
Like angry grandpa, one time he's pointing his finger. He's like, he threw his hands up, just walked away.
Ah!
Yep.